Warning, this may contain facts that will ruin your childhood. Watch at your own risk.
Hello one and all! Welcome to my basement where I live with my mom and have no job. Since I have nothing better to do with my life, I'm going to talk to you about, stuff.
I'm actually going to tell you about cartoons, the theories behind them, and how they evolved over time.
Let's start from the beginning. Cartoons have been big everywhere for a really long time, but they've played some pretty integral roles in American history as well, such as Ben Franklin's famous Join or Die cartoon, which helped get some recruits going for the Revolution. But that's not really what this video is about. It's more about more modern affairs.
Now that you know what we're talking about, to the thought bubble!
So, and Tom and Jerry was originally made in 1940, and there's thought to be racism because of the character Mammy Two Shoes. She's usually saw as like with no head on. You rarely saw her without her head. She was saw as fat. She had big lips, and she saw as unattractive and very forceful towards Tom and Jerry, and very violent. Like she would hit them and stuff. And then later on in the 1970s, people wanted that cartoon to be gone with the black mammy, so they replaced her with a white woman. And now people want the original cartoons back.
So, in 1955, a very popular cartoon character known as Speedy Gonzales came into American fruition. Speedy Gonzales was intended to be extremely racist, but didn't turn out to be so, if that makes sense. He was intended to be racist by his oversized sombrero, the things he would say, such as hola all the time, arriba, stuff like that. And eventually he was considered to be funny and close to Americans as well. Now, once again, this wasn't the original intent, but it spiraled out of that, so eventually his racism kind of backfired. But at the beginning, as I said, he was intended to be incredibly racist. And at the beginning, people did take it as such, because they couldn't stand the fact that he would run around and just be this, oh, Mexican, arriba, sombrero type mouse.
Another racist cartoon we saw in an early TV was Cannibal Capers. It came out in 1930 and was in black and white. It was meant for the family, and generally these characters were saw with big lips, thin neck, really short and stubby, and they were saw as stupid. They would eat their own kind, or they would grab a turtle and think that's their kind and eat it. And then there was a lion that was saw as a white man sort of deal, where when he got mad, he'd come and just wiped out these cannibals. And these cannibals would dance and sing and like laugh weird and only have like 2 teeth.
So far, all you guys have heard about was the bad parts of racism in American cartoons. Pretty screwed up, right? Don't worry, it gets better with the creation of Dora the Explorer in 2000 for Hispanics in America, as they had a new representation of their culture and how they were viewed as the same as other citizens. Go Hispanics! It was a big deal that a Mexican American had such a big role on TV and continues to this day. She's seen as very helpful and intelligent, which is extremely different as the old representation of Mexican Americans that were seen as lazy and greasy.
So same goes for African Americans in the evolution of cartoons. In 2009, Disney came out with the production of Princess and the Frog, which featured an African American woman as the main character, and not in a mocking way. This was not the first cartoon to do so either, but it describes that now African Americans, at least in the eyes of the developers and animators, were viewed the same as any other African American citizen. This was another huge milestone for African Americans. In integration into the cartoon world, African Americans now had proportionate faces and were seen as attractive and not made fun of in a mocking way.
Dora?
Did you know that some of these things were going on during the time that these cartoons came about? In the 1930s, for Cannibal Capers and Tom and Jerry, segregation was very much alive with Jim Crow laws, which stated that separate but equal facilities were legal and constitutional.
Another thing that was going on during this time was that the KKK, or the Ku Klux Klan, was around and well during this period as well, lynching African Americans and Hispanics along with other races, sending waves of terror throughout the nation. African Americans and Hispanics were still forced to take place in literacy tests and pay poll taxes, which greatly decreased their voter turnout. In the 1930s, the Harlem Renaissance occurred, which was a form of African American expression using the arts such as music and art itself. And in the 1940s, imagery in newspapers and crime novels portrayed Mexican Americans as something called zoot suiters, as criminals. Anti-zoot suiters sentiment sparked a series of attacks on young Mexican American males in Los Angeles, which culminated in what became known as the Zoot Suit riots. During the worst of their rioting, approximately 5,000 servicemen and civilians gathered in downtown LA and attacked Mexican American zoot suiters and non-zoot suiters alike. This is all different things that could have shaped how these characters were portrayed in cartoons. And there you have it. Notice Lexi's not in the shot. She wasn't here today. The slacker. She's a slacker. Anyway, there you have it. This is some serious racism that was going on during cartoons in 1930s to 1950s. Reforms started to take place later on, which, thank God, happened now. And now African Americans and Mexican Americans and all races alike in America are generally portrayed the same way as any other white citizen. So thank you, and have a good night.
I agree.
Bloopers.
She's too far away. Was a Hispanic girl who taught young kids how to speak Spanish, because Spanish. And